Aren't you guys tired of covering this? Aren't you guys tired of being here and having to cover all of these mass shootings? We have to do something. We all have to call our lawmakers, and we all have to make our lawmakers make change now, or this is going to keep happening, and it's going to be your kid and your kid and your kid and your kid next, because it's just a matter of time.
Hello there. No funny made-up news this week. It might not show, but I am furious. I have jokingly called the USA the crazy country, but I take that back. The USA is the totally out of its fucking mind, insane country. When the hell will you start do something about your out-of-control gun madness? Again, there has been a school shooting, now with 6 victims, and the shooter killed by the police. This shooting number 14. Right? There already have been 13 school shootings this year, and we are only in the 3rd month that resulted in injuries or deaths. There have been 157 such shootings since 2018. There were 51 school shootings with injuries or deaths last year. When, and now I am talking to the gun crazies, when will you admit that you, and your bloody lethal firearm fetish, are the problem? What you see running on the screen is the broadcast of a Fox breaking newscast. And listen what this idiot says about the shooter.
Saying that the individual identifies as transgender entered the building by firing through a side door. There you see it.
She identifies as transgender? What the fuck has that to do with it? Like, now you can blame transgenders? But this is what is going to happen. I am just predicting this. No, you piece of shit. What she identifies as is not the problem. Future Ivy of 2 days later here. Wow, was I right in my prediction? Me saying that she was a transgender was just how fast media like Fox was misleading the viewer. The shooter was a female to male transgender, so calling the shooter a she was not quite correct. But this is what you get with bigoted garbage like Fox. And making that prediction, man, that came out quickly. First, the New York Post came with his front page news. But the most disgusting thing was that Fox News, what else, already labeled it the fault of pushing transgenderism. No clip, but this image says enough, right? And to call this vile shit news? Blaming trans people as a group of this shooting, people who just want to be happy and live their lives. And of course blaming the left. God damn it, what a bunch of frauds. Back to the video. The out-of-control gun insanity is the problem. I dare to make a statement as fact. If the USA had gun control like in the Netherlands, all the victims of these 157 shootings would still be alive.
What I know at this point is at 10:13 today, officers responded to a shots fired call to Covenant School. It's a church school. Officers immediately responded. A team of 5 immediately went in the school, went to where gunshots were being heard, and engaged the suspect. We have 3 adult victims, and we have 3 children who have been identified, and their families have been contacted. Right now, I will refrain from saying the ages, other than to say I was literally...
Isn't it finally time to call the problem by its name? The problem is firearms. And let's face it, these infernal things are devices primarily built to kill, and should not be in the hands of the insane part of the population. They are certainly not toys to have as a symbol of status. In 2015, I made 3 videos about it, and they are still actual today. The only difference, the number of victims is rapidly rising. Let me start with the first video, about school and other mass shootings, which we named, 1 death per 16 minutes.
The tragedy here in Roseburg is reigniting the debate over gun control. Practically by the end of this broadcast, 2 more people will have been shot and killed in this country. According to the CDC, 1 person is killed with a firearm nearly every 16 minutes in the U.S., and 92 people are killed here every day with firearms, including suicides.
A deadly shooting at an elementary school in Newtown, Connecticut. That's about 24 miles northwest of New Haven. A law enforcement official has told CBS News Justice correspondent Bob Orr that one child has been killed and one gunman is dead as well.
Right here in Newtown, Connecticut, the site today of a mass shooting, and this time gunfire aimed at elementary school children. We're here in front of the Newtown United Methodist Church, where we've watched people gathering all evening long, as tonight the details are still pouring in. There are 27 victims, 20 children, 7 adults.
More breaking news of that mass shooting. Another shooting in America, another community shattered, and more young lives senselessly taken.
As law enforcement arrived and they heard gunfire, a shooter went inside, used a shotgun, was going after a teacher who managed to get out of the building, but 3 students were injured. One is in serious condition, a young girl who's in the hospital in surgery right now.
America's gun violence nightmare goes beyond the mass shootings that happen all too often in this country.
5-month-old Avielle Wakefield killed in a drive-by shooting in Cleveland yesterday.
Enough is enough. When are we going to stop counting babies being killed out there in the streets for nothing?
This will not change until the politics changes and the behavior of elected officials changes. And so the main thing I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about this.
Since 2001, 153,000 Americans have been killed by gun violence, compared to 3,000 in terrorist attacks, the vast majority of those on 9/11. Americans agree the violence must end, but remain bitterly divided how to stop it.
If the USA had the same gun control as Northwest Europe, all the victims of all these senseless shootings would still be alive. The children of Sandy Hook and all these other schools, the folks in that church massacre would also still be alive. And don't give me this crap about there are also mass shootings in Europe. Yes, there are. Since World War II, there was a mass shooting at average 1 in every 3 years. What is that compared to the USA? 1 shooting in Europe against 1,000 shootings in the USA? Gun control works.
If we didn't have cars, thousands of lives would be saved each year. Yet cars do kill people. And for your information, guns do their job without killing people. Guns give the people a voice. You want to strip the people of their rights. Progressives are fascists. Or lies filled with no citations whatsoever. And you wonder why nobody takes gun control fanatics seriously.
Banning guns addresses the fundamental rights for all Americans to feel safe.
Any Americans? It's a beautiful city, nice people. Yeah, very welcoming.
If I compare it to my city, I'd be more relaxed here.
Been here a few times, with the exception of the drugs that are decriminalized. I haven't seen many drugs at all.
Both times it's been incredibly welcoming, and the people are the sweetest that I've met anywhere in the world.
We feel very safe here. It's been good.
I'm a female traveling by myself, and I feel very safe.
Definitely safe. I haven't seen any crime. You don't even see any police out here.
People seem very mellow here.
I would say people are generally friendly.
Any major city you go to in the States is way, way, way more sketchy, and a place where I would watch myself a lot more than I would ever do in Amsterdam.
I've never seen any violence, fights, anything.
I think even though it has like all stuff like this, like sex and all these stores, and it's kind of like crazy, but still, I think it's safe.
Amsterdam is a wonderful place. And I've really enjoyed myself here, and I don't see any danger in coming.
Look, stuff happens. There's always a crisis. And the impulse is always to do something, and it's not necessarily the right thing to do.
How many more families, how many more people, how many more times is this going to happen until our country does something?
Yes, how many people and children have to die before the government does something? The next video is about these children. A warning, it can possibly make you cry.
Study after study here in the United States and around the world show incontrovertible evidence that where there is more gun control, there are fewer gun deaths. Overseas, the mass killing of school children in the town of Dunblane in the UK in 1996 brought swift new gun control that's dramatically reduced fatalities. And after 35 people were killed in Australia that same year, the newly elected Conservative Prime Minister John Howard went to the country to appeal for and to ram through changes. And there's not been a mass shooting in Australia since.
Call to action after an unspeakable tragedy. A 5-month-old killed in a drive-by shooting last week. Tonight, this image of her tiny casket. Her death bringing a veteran police chief to the brink of tears, saying, quote, "Our innocent babies getting caught in the crossfire."
Prayers tonight for a Missouri family after their little boy shoots and kills his baby brother. The tragic investigation is first on Fox. Investigators say the 5-year-old boy got a hold of a gun and shot his 9-month-old brother.
It happened this morning in Elmo, Missouri. The child rushed to a Kansas City hospital, dying of his injuries.
If you are a parent, even if you're not a parent, this story will make your heart stop. Tragedy in Raleigh. A 4-year-old child is dead after he gets his hands on his father's pistol. Good evening and thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Daryl Green.
Hi there, I'm Merle Purvis. The boy accidentally shot himself.
Authorities near Minneapolis say a 10-year-old child is dead and a gunman has been taken into custody after an apparent random shooting that also wounded 2 other people, including the child's mother.
This video is about shootings and accidents in the USA with legal guns. In the Netherlands and Northwest Europe, gun ownership is illegal and a crime. Firearm permits for citizens don't exist. Simply owning a gun can result to 4 years in prison. The only exception is made for registered sport shooters and registered hunters, both scrutinized by the police. They can only transport their guns in the back of the car, in a case locked and bolted to the floor of the car. At home, these guns need to be locked up in a safe. The keys have to be stored in a different place of the house. Deviation of these rules will result in losing the permit and the confiscation of gun or guns, plus an extensive fine. Now let's look at Europe, and the number of shootings and killings of the same kind. That's right, nothing happened. If the USA had the same gun control as Northwest Europe, all the victims of all these senseless shootings would still be alive. If you still oppose gun control, you're a major part of the problem.
The comments I got on this video were so utterly dumb, like they were toddlers having a tantrum because I would take away their toys, blah blah blah. Whining about their holy book. No, not the Bible, the Second Amendment. And let me be clear about you insane gun lovers. If I could, yes, I would damn well take away your guns and melt them down in a foundry. Stop treating the Second Amendment as a 007 license to kill. You are not James Bond, and you are not Rambo. For fuck's sake, grow up. And that lame excuse, we need guns for our protection. Well, guess what? In my country, the only protection you need are against bluntness and harsh words. No one has guns here, so we don't need protection against that. There is no such thing as responsible gun ownership when insane gun crazies can buy a machine gun and walk into a school and start shooting children. Because that is exactly what is happening. You gun crazies are just as guilty as the shooters, because you refuse to do anything about it. Because of you, this keeps happening, over and over again. The only responsible gun ownership is not owning a gun. If you have watched the previous video, you will know there is nothing funny whatsoever about these two parts. This time, we will address the really crazy apologetic by the gun lovers. Excuses you usually only see coming from the fanatic fundamentalist Christians in the United States. And if you notice the dripping sarcasm here, you noticed correct. That is why the next video is called, Insane Gun Apologetic.
The right to bear arms is very much like the freedom of religion, or even worse, it is even treated like something religious. And even the apologetics are very similar. Just take a look at this. Guns don't kill people? People kill people? Come on, please. There are lots of cases of fatal spontaneously gun discharges. But the gun crazies will always dismiss that. No. Changing it into cars, knives, baseball bats, etc., is also insane because killing is not their primary purpose. Firearms are only made to injure or kill, and preferably from a distance. Here's one to think about: guns don't die, children do. If the USA had European-style gun control, all the people killed by guns since the last video would still be alive. No idiotic apologetics in favor of gun ownership will change that, and it takes a special kind of moron not to see this.
I think you get the picture. The last video is from about a year later about this insane Las Vegas shooter who, from his hotel room, started shooting, murdering, and injuring dozens of visitors of a country festival on the field below. Or did you already forget this all happened?
Good evening. The famous Las Vegas Strip has become a scene of horror tonight after a gunman opened fire on a crowd from a high-rise hotel. He targeted a country music festival, mowing down dozens of fans from the 32nd floor. Here's what we know so far. More than 20 people have been killed and over 100 injured in the attack. Police stormed the gunman's room, killing him and discovering a cache of weapons. Tonight, officers are hunting his companion, an Asian woman.
Joe Lombardo from Clark County, and I'm here to talk to you about the tragic event that's taken place, and it's currently taking place at the Mandalay Bay out on the Las Vegas Boulevard. We determined there was a shooter on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay. Officers responded to that location and engaged the suspect at that location. He is dead.
The casino was the venue for the Route 91 Country Music Festival. In the chaos, there was confusion, people unsure where to go or what to do.
We saw first officers, about 8, running into the lift bay at 31 lift bay. They were going up, they were coming down.
If the USA had European-style gun control, all the people would still be alive. No idiotic apologetics in favor of gun ownership will change that, and it takes a special kind of moron not to see this.
Now I am thinking of the thousands of victims of gunfire in the United States over the 6 years that have passed since our first video. All because a certain group of gun crazies do not want to part with their deadly toys. I wonder, is this a way to make up for having a tiny PP? It is so simple. Where there are no guns, no people will die of gunfire. Is that so hard to understand? Thanks for watching. Perhaps next time the video will be more fun. So, keep playing the offended innocents, and when you go to sleep, don't think of the parents that will lose their children in the next school shooting, and the one after that, and the next. You gun crazies aren't only part of the problem, you are the main problem, and it is time you start realizing that.
Aren't you guys tired of covering this? Aren't you guys tired of being here and having to cover all of these mass shootings? We have to do something. We all have to call our lawmakers, and we all have to make our lawmakers make change now, or this is going to keep happening, and it's going to be your kid and your kid and your kid and your kid next, because it's just a matter of time.